speaker, Peter Burnell, who's director of EDINA and head of the Edinburgh University Data Library. He's going to be talking to us about preserving the integrity of the scholarly record.
So I'm thinking about this as a stopwatch, but I think it's a stopwatch for all of us. And the idea is that we're not just providing ease of access. Everything's changed. Even there we have a laptop rather than actually going to the stack. Improved ease access is something that we all know about, and we've heard some more about it just now. However, what has happened is our library shelves are now not full. That digital content is not with the libraries. There's been, if you like, publishers have had archival responsibility thrust upon them. The question then is, who does what? Well, libraries actually, research libraries are concerned about going over to e-only. They've not got there yet. We have a new concept of the indefinite article. It may last, we don't know, for some unknown period of time perhaps. But we could actually blame it on the fairies. Okay, neglect, decay, loss, and worry much. So we could worry quite a lot about what's going to happen, but actually it's in our own hands. We can tell of good fairies, those archiving agencies that have actually stepped forward now to do some heavy lifting on your behalf. There are various ones, you've heard about them all, Clocks, Portico, the National Libraries, a variety of consortia and specialist centres. They're actually stepping up to do it. And they're international, because we realise that things which we care about, things that our researchers and students use, are published all over the world, not just in our own country, wherever our own country happens to be. Well, loss, okay, another fairy. Eggs in one basket, we're familiar with that, the idea of accidental loss or maybe deliberate loss. We have to spread this across to different forms of organisation. So spread betting really counts. But how do we know what's where? Well, fortunately, we've got a facility that JISC is funding and has been developed with EDINA and the ISSN International Centre to discover who's looking after what. And the Library of Congress now, we're pleased to say, have stepped up and joined. A quick advert for something for hearing next year about a project which looks at the references which are made from your article to things online which may or may not be there when you come to look at them again. Reference rot, it's called. Hyperlink, go check that one out. So e-journals, they should be easy, okay? We should be making progress on this, shouldn't we? And so we can see there is, since we set it up in 2011, 16,000 layers, titles, 21,000, 23,000. Sounds pretty good, doesn't it? We seem to be making a lot of progress. But unfortunately, when you compare it with the total number of ISSNs that have been assigned to online resources, it ain't so good. 17%, only 17% is held by one or more. Only 7% by 3 or more. We could look at what libraries care about, all right? Look at their library lists. We looked at Columbia, Cornell, and Duke, and what did we find? That actually only about a quarter of that is being looked after by an archiving agency. 3/4 is unknown. So part of this problem is the long tail of publishers, the long tail of those journals from small publishers. The big publishers are doing some good stuff, but we're not reaching those small publishers. And it's going to be a problem as to how we do. We've got to rethink our strategy. Where we also think about, well, what did they use? What are our users actually using? So we looked in 2012, and we found out that only 1/3 of those were being looked after. 2/3 were held by none. So this is serious. So what should we do in the future? We can look at that about what happens if we neglect. We ask a librarian, do you have this article or not? Well, actually, maybe they do, maybe somebody else does, but more often, perhaps nobody does. And that's the threat, the real threat. So imagine what will be the case in 7 years' time, 6 years' time, not very far away. We can have the good case that we've actually acted together and we've done something, and that proportion maybe is now drilled down and we've got an opportunity to position ourselves. But the worst case is we haven't. And it will be our responsibility that we haven't. And somebody will start asking some questions. So let's see, what can we do? There we go. Whoops, I'm sorry. We can look at maybe some actions. Decide to take those stats seriously. Maybe libraries make sure that publishers have these licenses and they start doing something. Some collective action, perhaps, through UKSG. Maybe use the registry and monitor progress. The first thing we can do is actually engage with those heroes, the ones who are doing the work. because they need your support and your custom. And secondly, perhaps, go to the Keepers Registry and use the member services that we're just about to launch, and don't let those bad fairies get you down. Thank you.